Welcome to Fire and Smoke. We are Phillip,
Abby,
Blake, Ethan, Eric,
also known as Dungeon Master,
Odessa Vandever,
Randolph, Higdon,
Scratch,
Slaves.
and this is Fire and Smoke, Blight and Bloom. Without further ado, smoke. Puffs of smoke sputter out of the exhaust pipe of the car climbing its way along the mountain roads. Sitting in the back of the car, nearing the end of a long journey from Chicagoland to the heart of West Virginia, is a man anticipating what he is to find here in the mountains. Blake, would you like to describe your character?
Yeah, Randolph Higdon, also known by Higs by a lot of people. He's a journalist out of a newspaper in Chicago, works for his boss, Jove. He's about 5'2", with a long trench coat that drags behind him as he walks, and a big camera around his neck that he's been using to take pictures on the drive. And he's coming to the mountains because his boss, Jove, sent him a letter to get out here immediately.
You sit, squeeze into the back of a boxy Ford Model A car as it crawls over the uneven dirt path. Past the car, you see rolling waves of foliage with ash trees, black oak, maple, buckeye, hickory, even some aspen trees this far south with their characteristic eyes dotting the trunk. All of these trees that you know will turn into a beautiful canvas of orange and red and golden yellow come fall, but right now their canopies a uniform deep green in the summer heat that puts emeralds to shame. But you also see the other sections. Whole swaths of land completely clear-cut by lumber companies in such quick fashion that there is now seas of stumps covering the rolling mountains. In the distance, in those sections, you see smoke rising from mines or mills, and the air is sometimes hazy, like you were back in the city. These parts feel alien and dead compared to the stretches of old-growth forest. The landscape alternates between these two extremes as you sit behind the driver and hear the newfangled car radio up front turned onto a news broadcast. Sitting up front, a rather large man, probably in his late 40s, cooped up in the driver's seat behind the steering column. He's clean-shaven and has noticeable bags under his eyes. He has a thick neck that matches his wide jaw. He's a beefy-looking guy, but it's all kept wrapped under a tight tan suit and tie. Thick, wide-framed glasses that make his eyes seem very small, along with a short-brimmed brown fedora. You hear static and fuzz as the radio waves make their way into the car, and you hear the newscaster say,
President Roosevelt in remarks today assured listeners that his programs will bring a swift end to the recession. Though of the California-Cascadia Alliance, or as he often deemed them on the campaign trail, the California-Oregon-Washington Alliance, quote, the Cow Alliance, Roosevelt insisted he would not lift the embargo blocking the coast of the traitorous cows, despite some fringe members of the Democratic caucus pushing to establish trade with the former states in an effort to help end the recession.
And you hear the driver switches off the radio, throws his elbow onto the seat so he can turn his full body back to look at you, Higgs, and he says, Boy, old news, am I right, Higgs? Who needs to hear that stuff for the 10th time? Boring.
I know, right? So much politics these days.
So much politics. Between you and me, I've never voted.
You know, that's what I like about you.
Gee, thanks. Oh, what a strong note to start out on. Gee, thanks, Higgs. And you tell that boss of yours when you get there that I sure appreciate the work. The recession's been hard, but you know, this money is gonna do me some good.
Yeah, good old Jove. He's very generous.
Yeah, the recession and boy, prohibition. It's been hard.
Well, never did much drinking, so it's pretty easy for me, but hope you're not taking it too hard.
Well, these bags haven't gone away in the last 5 years, so I don't know if they ever will. But I tell you, the one good thing about prohibition sure has helped my driving, am I right? By the way, he's still been like turned around looking at you for the last, the entire conversation. He's not looking at the road. He's kind of just, his hand is on the wheel as he like goes back and forth on the dirt path.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like leaning over a little bit so I can make sure I'm watching the road, just so there's nothing in there.
He keeps looking at you and he says, Boy, Higgs, you know what? I sure will miss you. It has been a short 4.5 days. Just you, me, and these windows that don't roll down.
Yeah, I really love how you get the feel of a sauna in here.
It's really
long
muggy.
Day's drive.
Muggy cars are great, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. So
boy,
humid.
I love them. This bad boy will never quit. And he taps the hood, and you hear and the car starts bumping and rocking as it drives.
Oh, you might want to slow down there a bit.
And he goes, oh, flat tire, gotta change that.
From tapping the hood?
Yep.
Sure is a fixer-up.
And he
right?
pulls over to the side of the road. This might take a few minutes, Higgs. Feel free to get out and stretch your legs.
Oh, yeah. Might need it after a little bit.
You get up out of the car the first time this entire half day that you guys have been driving now. It has been 4.5 days that you've been driving from Chicago to the heart of West Virginia. And you stretch your legs a little bit, start walking around. Can you give me a perception check?
That's a 12.
You are milling about. You're in a section of the mountains where you are completely surrounded by old-growth forest. You passed sections earlier of clear cut, but right now you're shaded by the trees overhead, and it feels quite nice out today. As you're walking around, maybe absent-mindedly glancing about, seeing if anything might make a good picture for this story, apparently whatever Jove wants you to be working on. I don't know. You're not quite sure why he's called you out here. He didn't really explain that in his note. He just said he needed you to meet him in the mountains so you could help him get a story out. You haven't seen him a lot, actually, in the last couple years. He's been off doing something. The guy always likes to go into new investments and start new things, and he's always moving around, but he was, last you heard, doing something with a railroad company or land or coal or something in the mountains. But you're a little bit surprised to get the note from him because doing any of those things wouldn't require the owner of the company to be deep in the mountains himself doing the work. So you're not quite sure what you expect to find here.
Right.
You're looking around and something catches your eye a short distance past the edge of the forest. That's because a large beam of sunlight breaks through the semi-dark woods. You see an enormous oak tree has fallen over, and it left a hole in the canopy where bright light shines to the forest floor. It's hard to tell from this distance, but it looks like it must have fallen quite recently. Dirt still seems to hang off the severed roots, and a crater where the roots had been sits empty. What's more, something is weird. It looks like the roots are glistening in the sunlight with something red. As you are maybe contemplating what's going on, you hear behind you. As you turn around,
I thought it was gonna be fixed. I was like, oh, time to go, I guess. But
as you turn around, you see as Sydney, your driver, was using the jack to prop up the side of the car to change the tire. The tire on the opposite corner has popped and deflated and gone down, and Sydney stands up and he goes, okay, well, we can use the patch kit on that one. Higgs, it might be a little bit more minutes. Feel free to stretch your legs more, I guess. He looks a little annoyed.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just gonna go take a stroll for a bit, if that's all right.
All right.
Okay, yeah, go over and investigate.
You step off the dirt road and onto the grassy earth. You push some branches from bushes and such out of your way as you make your way through the woods. And as you approach the fallen oak tree and the hole, the knot of roots that makes up the base of the tree stretches a foot or two over you as you stand near the edge of the cavity in the earth. Glancing down, you see in the rocky soil the other half of some of the wooden tendrils where they splintered and remained when the tree fell to the ground. Looking up, you can see much better now. The roots aren't glistening, but in certain areas, near the heart of the knot, where the roots would have been deepest in the earth, there's a waxy red material intertwined throughout. It looks almost marbled with the wood in some places, and looking back down, you see in the corresponding spot in the dirt, there's also the same waxy red material wrapping around the growth deep beneath the surface. It's hard to tell exactly what it is.
First, I'm going to take a picture with my camera.
You take a step back. Very bulky camera. Huge flash on the front. You're holding it by the handle. You raise the camera up and hit the shutter, and a huge sparks go off as the light bulb flashes, and you get a good picture.
And I can't take a look at the picture now because it's got to.
No, you got to develop the film.
Yeah, makes sense. Does it look like it's like broken apart, like the red material is broken apart, or is it just?
It looks like it's
embedded into the
maybe a little bit. If you can make an investigation check if you want to investigate the red material.
That's a 17.
17. You reach out and break off a piece of the root that has the red on it, getting a little bit of soil under your fingernails as you do so. Touching the red, it feels rubbery, like there's a little bit of give there, and maybe a bit porous. Seems organic, but also a little like sticky or something, suctiony. There's no residue on it, but it kind of clings to your skin a bit when you pull your finger away. You have really no idea what this is.
In my trench coat, I definitely open it up, bunch of pockets in there, right?
So many pockets, just so many pockets.
All right, I take the piece I broke off, throw it in there, Maybe break off a couple more just to have extras. But
open your trench coat, put some. When you do, you look down and you see where your trench coat has been dragging on the ground because it's too long for you.
That's true.
It's just covered in dirt. The earth is a little bit moist. It might have rained recently. Maybe that's why the tree fell over. If there was a big storm, but it's just lots of dirt and branches and twigs stuck to the tail end of the tail end of the trench coat.
I'll brush some of that off, but I know I can't get all the dirt off.
You can't get all the dirt off, and there isn't much more to do here. So maybe in his own time, Higgs, you make your way back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
On your way back, before you get there, you hear Sydney. Sounds like he's kind of a little bit of distance away, but he's like cursing under his breath or something. As you break through the bushes and get back onto the road, you see
oh no, third flat. My tire rolled off the cliff.
Sydney stands with both hands on his head in an annoyed fashion, and you see the car has lost the other two tires. They've gone flat, and it seems like there's some smoke coming out from under the hood.
Hey Sydney, everything all right?
He turns to look at you and he says, Higgs, I'm going to keep it straight with you. I'm going to start walking back to the closest town that has a train that goes to Chicago. I recommend you start walking the final leg of your journey. If you start now and keep a good pace, you should reach there by midnight. Goodbye, Higgs. And he turns to walk away.
Give him a bad review. That's like 2 stars, right?
I think about saying something either like nice or mean, and I kind of go like, and I just say, thanks, Sydney. And I start to walk the other way.
You start on your way. Far in the distance, your eventual destination, a company town. The walk takes a long time. The sun eventually sets, and you're making your way by moonlight and starlight along the road. You're not seeing many other people pass by at all, but eventually you'll make your way there.
At least it's not as hot as it was in the car.
Did you take your luggage?
No, I did not. I'll buy spares.
You're a little rich boy.
I'm going to meet Jove. Jove will hook me up.
While Higgs is walking, we'll check in on a character in the town he's headed to. Odessa Vandever. You live in the company mining town of Slate Cut.
It's a little on the nose, right?
Slay.
He did it on purpose. Phillip did it on purpose.
No, I
He
didn't.
did it on purpose. He knew.
I didn't do it on
He
You guys
purpose.
can't see, but Phillip has the most disappointed look on his face. Like something's broken in his heart.
It's the town is called Slate Cut. There's nothing I can do. Entering the town is a single dirt road that travels south through the mountains, following a creek on its way to the larger river. On the right side, a row of company houses, if you could call them houses. The row of small shanties line the right side of the street with a vast, untouched section of the woods stretching in all directions behind them to the west, and they face out across the dirt road and creek to a clear-cut hillside of rotting stumps. As the chainsaws swing in the distance, eventually the lumber company will work its way around to the forest to the west in this section of mountains, but for the time being, it stands pristine. At the end of the road, past the homes, is a company store, and beyond that still, over a small footbridge that crosses the creek, is a kind of outdoor chapel, backing up against a rocky outcropping from the steep, bare hills. Inside the closest company house to the town entrance, a hushed discussion between 3 people is happening, late into the night. We see an A-frame, dilapidated shack made out of reclaimed wood, like the rest of the company houses that line the street, with a tiny covered porch out back facing the forest. Also behind the home is a large garden, blooming in the late summer heat. Tomatoes, cabbage, okra, and corn shooting up between these various crops, matching the gardens behind every other dwelling, all required by the company and each employee's housing contract. Abby, would you like to describe your character inside your tiny home?
Yes. Odessa Vandever is short, but clearly very athletic. She carries a pickaxe because, of course, she works in the mines. She wears a black bandana and overalls, and her hair is as dark as the coal she mines, and is kept in a bun. She lost her mom and dad a long time ago, so she now provides for herself and others working in the mines.
You are having a heated discussion under the protection of night, because this discussion is one that would easily get you fired. You are having the discussion with two men who also work in the mines. They are the only two who seem to be on your side about the nature of forming a union and about how weird things have gotten in the town in the last few weeks. The union has really swept through coal mines in the rest of the mountains, but in Slate Cut, the development has been slow because the workers have been distracted. They've been focused on other events, like the angels that came to town. Sitting across from you during this discussion is Eli Wu, a half-Chinese, half-white miner, and Ned Hatfield, a white miner. Ned is 97 years old. He wears glasses with incredibly thick lenses, both of which are cracked and covered in soot, but he doesn't seem to notice or mind. Pruned and frail, he has stark white tufts of hair just above his ears and nowhere else on his head. He absent-mindedly taps his small wooden leg on the floor, being artificial, starting halfway down his calf, and his lip quivers constantly as he looks between you and Eli, listening intently. Eli wears his mining garb from the day's work, too exhausted to even take off the cap that holds the mini oil lantern used in the tunnels. He's covered in coal soot, as all of you are, and is a thin, 50-year-old man. His face is unwashed and unshaven, and he leans back in his chair, running his right hand, missing 2 fingertips, through his short black hair. Odessa, Eli looks across the small wooden table at you, while leaning back, and he says, with a sigh, Odessa, I have to be honest with you. It is just the 3 of us, and I'm afraid that... And you see he looks, kind of makes a pointed look at Ned Hatfield, and he looks back at you and he says, quite soon it will be the 2 of us. I'm quite sure of it.
What's that? To his face?
Ned Hatfield leans forward and he says, now, Eli, don't say things like that. Odessa's gonna be fine. Nothing's gonna happen to her.
As Ned said, come on, Eli, like, let's be realistic here.
You see Eli fully looks at Ned and says, I was talking about you. Ned
He's gonna have a heart
Hatfield,
attack right now. I'm calling it.
Ned leans back and he says, why? Is somebody out to get me?
No one. Eli, be nice. Be nice right now.
Fine. I don't see what we're gonna do about the union cause. It seems like every day it gets a little bit farther away. And with the angels, I'm not sure if there's anything we could say to convince anybody otherwise. What with their preaching of good works and hardships.
But 3 angels, 3 of us, we're equal.
You think Ned could take one? If Ned can take one, you guys got your 2.
Odessa, I don't know what you're suggesting, but I will follow your lead if you'd like to do something. I will warn you, however, that I have some reservations about any dangerous acts. He looks a little bit reserved, like he doesn't want to say something, and he says, there's still people that rely on me, and I do not know that I would give up that responsibility so easily.
So you're leaving us? You're not going to help us?
I don't know about killing angels. Seems bad.
That's fair, but think of all the other people around us.
See, Ned says, yeah, Eli, you gotta think about the
I
youngins.
feel like Ned needs to talk less. Just sit down. It's gonna be okay.
No. Ned's cooking. He's cooking.
He's got something to say. He's got something to say.
Oh.
I was simply letting you know, Odessa, that I have reservations. If you come up with a concrete plan, I will follow your lead, but I'm afraid that taking out any action against just the angels won't lead to the results we want. We need people to know what's happening here. We need the public. We need the greater lands outside of the mountain to see how the company takes advantage of us, what they're doing, what they're putting us through. And if we told anybody about the angels without proof, not sure that would go so well. We might get locked up in the loony bin.
That's fair. But I mean, if that's all we have to do, like, can you even think of anything else? Like, we have to tell people.
I do not have the money to make any plans to bring the world to West Virginia, so I'm not sure what we can do.
Sounds like we need someone with money to help us.
Well, that sounds like it might be a plan, but maybe we could talk about it tomorrow. The two of you might need to leave soon. I'm planning on going to sleep.
Oh, he's
Ned.
chugging along.
Ned, this is my house. You need to go to your house to rest.
He kind of adjusts his sooty glasses. No, I don't believe so. Pretty sure this one's mine.
How do you, it's so awkward.
You're gaslighting your own players.
If you need a place to rest, you can rest here.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're asking to stay the night, you could sleep on the table. There's not a lot of room in the bed.
Ned. Ned.
Yes.
Okay, Ned. I'll take the table.
Odessa, can you make a perception check?
That's 16.
Odessa, you look out your front window while contemplating what to do, and you see something peculiar. Your house is right near the entrance to the town, and you see a man walking up the road. He has a large camera, and he wears kind of a trilby type hat, like a man who might make the paper.
I say, hey guys, I see someone. And I go to the window.
Hey, Phillip, is this me?
Yes.
As I'm walking up to the town, I definitely will like take a couple of pictures here and there just to get snapshots of everything.
You see he pauses at the town's entrance and takes a picture with the flash on of the sign, and it for a moment illuminates everything in the radius.
Guys, I think this is who we need to tell everyone about what's happening here.
Eli moves to the window to look out. Ned Hatfield doesn't move to the window to look out. He stays sitting in his chair looking ahead. Eli says, "We've got a bad track record with angels so far, but maybe one was just sent for us."
Amen.
Higgs,
Mhm.
you have been walking for a full half a day. It is near midnight now, just like Sydney suggested when you would get here. You realize, once you make your way to the entrance, Jove said in his letter that he was going to have somebody meet you when you got here, but he thought you were getting here hours ago. And make a perception check.
Not again.
Oh no.
That's a 27.
Never mind.
Jesus, dude. All right, man.
I see everything.
You don't see anybody here to greet you. It looks like maybe
You don't see everything.
well, you see
Smell someone.
you see clearly that there's not anybody waiting here to greet you. It looks like,
Yeah.
Maybe they gave up a while ago and figured something must have happened and that you'd be coming tomorrow or who knows what. But as you scan the town, you see two things. You see a man and a woman looking out at you from the window of the first house near the town entrance. You also see towards the end of the street, for just a second, a head was poking around the corner and then moves behind the building. Odessa, you want to go out and talk to this guy?
I do. I would love to go out, flag him down.
You see the people that were watching you from the window open the door and start walking towards you.
Hey, are you the one that's supposed to meet me here?
Yes.
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 Oh, great. Yeah, Jove said someone would meet me, but I know I'm a little late, but I'm glad you guys waited up for me.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you know where he is, or
Yeah.
can you take me to him?
Not yet. First, he said that you're gonna stay here the night.
Oh, okay.
Yes. He said you're going to stay in this house for the night.
With the both of you?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, looks a little small for three of us, but I
Wait till he
guess,
gets inside as a fourth
I'm a
guy.
little short, so
There's one more.
there's a fourth.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I'm a little small, so we can make it work.
Ned can sleep outside.
Ned?
Eli, stop.
It just seems like he shouldn't still be around is all.
And neither should you with that attitude.
I'm in a bad mood, I guess.
Am I interrupting something or?
No.
Yes, come in. You were supposed to meet us.
Got it. Okay.
And Eli takes you by, he puts his hand on your shoulder and starts leading you into the house.
Of course, yeah, we go in.
You guys make your way into the house, and Odessa, you close the door behind you.
Lock it.
Lock it. I think it's time to introduce our final two characters.
Who? They can't see.
No, his name is Sure. Who is his friend?
Out in the garden, under the cover of night, lurks our final two friends. Two brothers sneaking through the night, close to the house looking for food. One shredding more confidently, almost foolishly, ahead of the other. Eric, Ethan, would you like to describe your characters? Ethan, why don't you go first?
Yeah, okay.
Scratch is an American red fox that, along with his little brother's Sleeve, started to mutate a few years ago, showing a couple of distinctive mutations. The biggest one is that he has 6 legs, an extra pair tucked behind his front tooth that let him run a little faster and push a little harder. And he's covered in these large scars from an incident in his childhood where an eagle tried to hunt him. He also has a third eye to the left and underneath his left eye. It makes him look a little strange and a little scary, especially up close, which is why he tries to urge his little brother that the two of them need to stay away from humans and keep to the woods on their own. The last thing they want is to put themselves in danger, even if it feels like Scratch is the responsible one and Sleeves can be a little bit happy-go-lucky.
And Eric?
Sleeves is an American red fox who really likes to make friends with everyone. But he has a hard time doing so because everyone is scared of his second row of teeth. Sleeves has an extra set of powers over his brother Scratch, and that is his ability to heal. Scratch doesn't really like it when Sleeves goes up to other people and tries to make friends with them, because he's a little bit overprotective. And right now, Sleeves is looking for something to eat.
You guys make your way close to the houses because you are searching for food. It has become a little hard, since you both gained your higher intelligence, to stomach the action of hunting and killing small animals with your teeth. So you've discovered bones in the trash near towns or cabins in the woods. Lots of people will leave meat out to dry on their porches, which is a little bit less stomach churning than killing something yourself. And you also, might eat something from the garden sometimes. As you guys approach the house, Sleeves, you are walking far ahead of your brother, a little too carefree. And I think you might notice as you scamper up on top of the trash cans that are under the window, there are people having a conversation inside as you kind of keep a little bit low because of your brother's warnings, but you still want to know what's happening. Inside, you see people arguing, and you can make out most of what they're saying, though it's quite muffled coming from the gap in the windowsill. The short one with the weird thing hanging on his neck seems new. You've never seen him before anytime you guys have dared to come into this company town. The leader one, she always seems so cool. You always wanted to talk to her most of all anytime you saw people. As you listen, you hear them continue their conversation.
Sorry about coming in so late. I mean, we were coming from Chicago, so it was going to be about 5 days drive, but the car broke down a couple dozen miles back and had to walk the rest of the way. So that's why I'm here so late.
You must be exhausted.
Oh, absolutely.
Would you like something to drink, a place to rest, like a bed?
I would love to go to sleep as soon as possible, if that's okay.
Perfect. You can sleep here on the table.
So, bed, table.
Higgs, you look around the house and you see among the scant collection of personal items in here, there is a few chairs where the canvas bottoms have fallen away and been replaced with some uneven wooden planks that sit around a small table. There's a rusted hearth with a stove on top of it, the only source of warmth in this as the sun has fallen and it's kind of gotten a little bit chillier at night. You see a shelf holding a few plates and utensils, a few jars of food, a bag of flour, and an old mattress that's like a twin bed low to the ground.
Well, if it's all right with you, I can just take one of the chairs. I know there's a lot of us here.
No, please take the table. Please
I
take
think I
the
would
table.
prefer a chair over the table if that's okay.
Eli puts a hand on your shoulder and he says, "You'll sleep on the table."
All right. Is there a place I can maybe put a couple of my things down?
On the table.
On the table, right.
I should also say you have seen the fourth person they were talking about, a very, very, very old man. He adjusts his glass and he says, "Well, it looks like your coat's been dragging in the dirt. Oh, have you ever thought about getting the shorter one?"
I mean, my boss got me this one when I turned 18, and I guess he thought I would get a little taller. I'm a little attached to it.
He adjusts his glasses again and he looks at you and he says, "How long ago was that? What are you now, 60?
Little younger than that. But, I mean, you don't look a day over 60 yourself.
That's what
Oh, you flirt. Cut it out."
So, you guys are working with Jove too?
Absolutely. What he's been wanting you to do right now, what he told us to tell you,
Mhm.
is that we're going to need you to take a look at what's been happening in the company and, take some pictures, like spread it to the media.
What's been happening out here? Is something going on?
There are some peculiar things happening. Have you heard about the angels?
The angels? I pull out my notepad to start taking notes on all this.
Yeah, they heal people. At least that's what we're all made to believe.
Like doctors.
No, they heal through divine intervention.
We do not understand how they're doing what they're doing. We've seen them heal minor wounds. Minor wounds. We've seen them heal small wounds on minors.
I write that one down to put in the
Hey, what the hell, man?
Can I quote you on that?
Oh, yes. Quote.
That's
good.
Sorry, what was your name again?
Eli Wu.
Eli Wu. Got it. And you?
I'm Odessa Vandever.
Odessa Vandever, and points to the old man.
Did you need something?
Oh, what's your name, sir?
Ned Hatfield.
Ned Hatfield. Got it. Yeah. My name's Higs. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, Higgs, we don't know how they do what they do. It seems like it must be some kind of trick. They came to the town first under the guise of the local preacher. But they came right when the three of us were starting to convince people to join the United Mine Workers. Since they came here, during sermons, they show up to talk about how good it is to have noble work ethic, how hardship in this life ensures salvation in the next. It seems like they must be working for the company. But the divine intervention seems real, and it's quite alarming. Most of the other miners have fully accepted this reality, and all our progress in trying to convince people for the need to unionize was lost.
You're sure this is a trick?
I'm just a man, but it seems like an odd coincidence for the time of their arrival, what they have to say, and the end result. It must be tied to the company, but I don't know what the trick is with the healing.
Right. Well, after at least an okay night's sleep, I would love to see these angels, if I could.
Okay. Scratch.
Yep.
Outside, you were just behind your brother, and you see him scamper up onto the trash, almost getting in view of the lit up window illuminating the night around the house. Make a perception check.
Everyone's got to make one of those.
It's a 15.
What's he rolling for?
Oh no.
He made the biggest eyes.
What a crazy thing to roll with advantage.
We're pogging.
That sounds like it could be good.
I'll keep those two there so you can see them later and you guys aren't mad at me. Scratch, you don't see anything out of the ordinary around the house, but it's dangerous for Sleeves to be getting that close. Somebody could see him, somebody could freak out, somebody could shoot you guys.
Well, I run up and I'm like, Sleeves, what the hell are you doing? Get out from there.
There's friends in there.
Sleeves, they're awake in there. You cannot be up there. Come, get down.
No, I don't want to.
What? Okay, look, Sleeves, you
What
gotta-
if we became friends with them?
become they're people. They're humans.
What are they gonna do? Shoot us?
Yes, Sleeves. They could very well shoot us. They could be hiding there.
As you say, what are they going to do? Shoot us? Higs, Odessa, can you guys make a perception check? You'll need to do so with disadvantage because you're locked in, a heated conversation. You're not really paying attention to too much.
Gonna make that one with my Wild West dice. I got a 20.
I have 14.
Scratch, you are standing just below the window by the garbage cans. Sleeves is up on top of the garbage, looking through the window, almost in view. He might be a little too low down for people to see, but it's still just dangerous. Odessa, the layout of your house, it's kind of a shoebox with a door in the front, a door in the back that goes to the little back porch, a window in the front by the door, and 2 windows on either side. Your back is actually to the other window. You're kind of facing the window Sleeves is standing at, but you haven't noticed him. Higgs, your back is to the window where Sleeves is, so you're kind of facing the other window. You don't really register what happens next, but Odessa, you do. I'm going to take a little page out of the DM's book from Brennan Lee Mulligan, and I'm going to describe to you what happens next in the jarring order in which the events register in your brain. Odessa, your ears start ringing powerfully all of a sudden. You automatically react to reach up and cover them. You then hear the shatter of glass from the window behind you on the left side of the house as it begins to fall to the floor in 1,000 tiny shards. And finally, you see Higgs lurch backwards, falling as the 2 bullets that just flew through the window from the darkness exit out the back of his chest in quick succession and impact the wall opposite of the 2 of you, exploding the wood near the other window, Sleeves right next to your head. Higgs, I gotta roll damage.
All good. All good. Dinner the foxes. So let's be clear, guys. I'm a rogue and I have 8 con. So my health is 23.
I will be fully transparent with you, the character, because I don't want you to feel cheated. Even though, there's some other stuff, obviously, that might happen afterwards. But these bullets are coming with somebody who has, out of character, who has the assassin rogue. That means that any hits against you are auto crits because you're surprised haven't taken an action in combat. So he will be rolling double damage on both of them.
All right, well, I call the camera.
Higgs, as a bullet hits you right near your heart and a second one hits you lower in your abdomen, you are dealt 53 piercing damage.
I'm dead.
Instant death damage. But that instant seems to stretch out for you. You lose control of your body and ragdoll to the ground, falling on your face. In the last seconds, as you hear people yelling and scrambling around you and the door flies open, you're fading out, but you hear the raspy breathing of a dying person, and yet somehow it doesn't sound like you. You're laying. You feel the rough wood of the floor on the left side of your face. You turn your head to the left and you're standing on your 2 legs in the cold air out in the woods. You look across the forest and see that red substance from earlier spreading out across the forest floor like spiderwebs in all directions, and also up. Ethereal branches of the intertwined network seem to reach into the sky. As you follow the tendrils up with your head, looking up, you see they climb in an impossible fashion into the endless abyss. Craning your neck, you look at the galaxies and stars, the network touches, and you see something else. Something moves. Something big, impossibly big, and impossibly far away. Some dark, lumbering, indiscernible shadow behind the stars shifts. Just a little bit. As you turn your head back down, everything changes again. You feel warmth, hear voices and music around you, and bright lights inside of this room that you're in. Higgs, you look straight ahead at the face of a friend, an old friend. A party is happening around the 2 of you. You make eye contact with the friend, as with a warm smile, he says, "Focused effort." The sound of the music and the voices stretches out like somebody slowing down a record, and the face of your friend distorts for a second. Then it snaps back into place and the music goes back to normal, and your friend is looking at you again and says, "Takes a little more time, I'm afraid." You feel motion on the ground around your body, so far away. Your friend, one last time looking at you, almost with a desperate energy in their eyes, They cock their head to the side, and with a fur over their brow in an inquisitive manner, they look at you and say, "Is it working?" Darkness. Quiet. Higs, you die. And that's all for this episode of Fire and Smoke, Blight and Bloom. If you want to keep up with the show, follow me on my Dungeons & Dragons TikTok account at WitchDunphy, WHICHDUNPHY. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before the end of the episode?
Yeah.
What now?
I'm so down for 3-person campaign. I just like
We'll come back next episode with our 3 remaining players.
Can't believe that I put 8 con and it mattered that quickly.
it was pretty close actually.
I could have survived if I had like
statted better, you could survive
if
that.
I had like 14 con. I live.
So the 2 dice that I rolled earlier,
Mhm.
when I said I can't believe I rolled that with advantage, one of them was a natural 1 and one of them was a natural 20. I kept them on their faces for a stealth check. That scratch. I really thought you were going to see something and maybe take some action to pull sleeves away or something. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Good riddance. I mean, that guy couldn't size a trench coat.
back to the drawing board, I guess.
He could.
Back to the draw. You got your backup character ready, right? Yeah.
Can I play as what's his name? The old guy?
Ned
Can I
Hatfield.
play as Ned?
You're gonna die in the next episode.
No,
just
I think
from old
now that the
age.
assassin
You
is
can
good-
play. You keep playing characters who die. So you do Ned Hatfield, and he dies of a heart attack in episode 2.
Just lock that one in.
Yeah.
And we'll get more hints about the Eldritch Horror stuff, which was pretty cool.
Eldritch horror stuff.
Big thing.
You got the
guy.
cool scene. What do you complain about dying for?
Yeah,
you got
you
the cool
saw
scene.
that.
True, that's true.
That's true.
You're the guy who gets the cool scenes this
So-
season.
Was the friend someone I actually like that I'm not aware of, or was that Jove?
It's definitely not Jove.
Okay.
And there's a short list of people you know other than that.
This guy's got no friends.
I have
Guys, what do we say to the end of the episode? We could do Slay, but we could change it.
Slay.
It could be a Slay.
We could just say Slay.
That's so good. Oh my god. I didn't
This guy
That's why you
scripted
named it
this.
that. That's
This
why
guy
I
you
didn't
named
name it
that.
Slay.
planned ahead.
I didn't even think of that. It was
You can't see. He's crossing
it's-
his fingers.
I'm not crossing my fingers. No, that's not true.
He came to me ahead of time and was like, Ethan, how can
It
I
was
make
a
them
Doing-
fun little
doing
thing
4 crosses.
where sometimes tricky mine
He's crossing his
operators
toes.
would steal from their workers by, you'd get the coal cart full and you'd weigh it and you'd say, that's how much we need to pay the miner because you pay by the pound, right? But they'd say, oh, there's a bunch of like slate and rock in there. So we're going to subtract that out. Let's just say this 2-ton thing is actually only 1.7 ton. And they'd like steal money from workers that way.
Oh my God.
Is slate cut. It was a little thing. I didn't even know if it was going to come up. It was just going to be like a thing that I knew.
We clocked
Now
it
it's a bit.
immediately.
Now it's a bit.
Wait, is it slate cut?
Slate cut.
Who else thought it was slay cut?
No, that's why I was like, I didn't name it Slay.
I thought it was slay cut.
No, but now we're doing Slate
It's okay. I
cut.
made it better.
Make sure to tune in next episode to see what happens with our 3 remaining characters.
Hey.
And remember, we're in Slate
Slate
cut.